All right, we are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris, and this is my channel. We Love Comics. And I'm going to redo this video because for some reason there were so many problems. I was starting to get some comments saying that the audio wasn't working right. It was skipping. And it just ended up being too long because for some reason YouTube wouldn't allow me to end the video. So it ended up being like a 20-minute video, and it was just a pain. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to start it over again. And plus, people were saying, one or two people were offended by the quote unquote, well, the one word that you see I've changed. So just to make it easier, I decided to redo this. And now that I had a little bit of time to kind of calm down a little bit, it'll give it ability to make it shorter. So plus also, some people didn't want to know about any of the spoilers. So I'm just going to mention the comic but not explain why. So if you look up the comic, it's going to kind of reveal a spoiler, but I'll leave that up to you instead of mentioning it here just in case. So I just thought it'd be easier to take the other one and start it over again. All right, so in case you're not familiar with what's going on, I was on eBay today trying to look at, newly listed books, see if I could find any kind of new book. And all of a sudden, I see a comic. And I'm not going to say what is in it or what the reason was, but I saw this comic that it was from 1988 or 1989. It's a Thor book, Thor 390. Mark said it. Don't mention in the chat what it is because some people get mad about that. So please do not mention what it is. If somebody wants to know, they can look up the book. So I'm asking anybody in the chat, please be respectful to people who don't want to know spoilers. That's exactly why I took the other one down, even though I told people, spoiler alert. Somebody might miss that or whatever. Or they had to shut off the video, some people said, because they didn't want to know. So all I'm going to say is I saw this book that would have been a 50-cent book 2 days ago. All of a sudden selling for $70. So I'm like, why would a book like that sell for that much? Until I looked at the book and found out the reason why. And it has a supposed, and I'll just say that because I can't confirm it and I don't want to confirm it. I haven't seen the movie. But they're saying it might have a minor thing to do with Avengers Endgame. When I mean minor, to me, this is not anything that's a major big deal. But this book should not be selling for $70. And I'm going to tell people right now, because of what is in this book, the significance of this book is going to be only for this movie, only probably for a brief moment at best. Again, please don't anybody mention it in the comment section or in the live chat. And once this movie's done, that book is going to fall to the ground faster than, somebody trying to drop Thor's hammer. It's going to fall quickly. So I am going to tell people, in my humble opinion, that this book is not worth getting. I mean, if you had it already, I would tell people, this is the only time I would tell people, if you have this book, sell it. Because you will never get another chance to have this book make as much money as it will right now. Because like I keep saying to people join bandwagons and they join emotions based on flavors of the month and all of these things. And this book, after this movie is over, is going to plummet to the ground. And if you spend $50, $60, $70 on this book, like I see some people trying to sell it, you're going to be very disappointed when you watch that book fall into oblivion. So I would highly recommend to treat Thor 390 like it's the plague. Stay away from it. And if you had this since you were a kid, or you bought it, like somebody said, they bought it for like $1, or somebody else paid a whole $3 for it, I would sell it right now. Because after this movie's over, within a month after the movie's over, no one's going to care about this book anymore. It will be back in the 50-cent bin. Because it's not a first appearance. It's not an origin. It's not anything like that. It's just probably a one-moment thing in the movie. And I won't go further than that. But what upsets me about this, and it was funny, somebody made a comment saying that the only reason I was mad is because I didn't get it. I mean, come on. I have Fantastic Four #1, #2. I have X-Men #1. I have Hulk 181, 3 copies of it. I have the first appearance of the Silver Age Green Lantern. I mean, come on. You think I'm going to be upset because I didn't get Naomi or I didn't get Thor 390? Come on. So that's obviously somebody that doesn't watch my videos because I went to their channel, there was nothing on it. But my point is, I try and warn people all the time about how this recent wave of speculation is getting out of control. And what's going to happen is the younger generation, the kids that don't know about comics, who maybe want to get into them, who just happen to walk into a comic store because they heard something about a book and they find out it's either not there or it's 10 times more expensive the day it comes out, that this stuff is going to turn people away. And do you think that is going to help make the comic book community stronger or weaker? And do you think a collapse would be further away with those kind of business tactics? Or do you think they're going to stretch it out and make it never happen? Because I am a child of the 80s, but I was collecting comics in the 80s and 90s, and I saw the crash. And all the comic book stores and all the comic book collectors, even myself, I was programmed back then to believe this stuff's going to last forever. And all the variants they had and all the special issues and all the things like the death of Superman ended up ultimately being the death of the comic book community, and 90% of the people walked away never to come back. And you could tell because the average print run of a book these days, if you sell a print run of 300,000 copies, you're very successful. In the 90s, it would have been 3 million. So most of the people went away and never came back. So when things like this are happening, now I can understand something. If a book is hot, give it a day before you raise the prices. And I'm talking about comic book stores in general. The people that are putting the books out and selling them either early or pricing them on eBay $30 before it even has a chance to get and hit the newsstand, I think that is taking advantage, and it's leaving a bad taste in people's mouths. And if you read the comment from the videos I did the other day, I'm not the only one. People are getting tired of it. And when that happens, sometimes people walk away and say, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. A lot of people are starting to get more and more away from the newer books and getting back into the real mega issues. I mean, honestly, as good as Naomi may be, do you think Naomi will ever reach the levels of Spider-Man, Thor, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman? Not going to happen. Now, that doesn't mean it can't be a success. It might be the next Deadpool. You never know. That's the thing about speculating. But Deadpool, for example, Venom, for example, took about 30 years before anybody cared about them. These books are going from $3.99 and $4.99 to $80, $90, $100 almost overnight. And a lot of people are starting to walk away. And that's going to cause problems. So I'm saying beware. But that's one of the reasons why I want people to come to my channel and not just follow the bandwagon, the emotional train, to find the flavor of the month. And this new Thor 390, like I was saying before, I went to every major online comic book store and none of them were available. So they were either all sold out or they took them down. I don't know, and I don't want to speculate in that sense, because I don't work for any of these companies. Could they have taken some down to reprice them? It's not impossible. But what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to avoid people that get upset, because if you spend $70 on this book, and you find out a month after that movie's come and gone that that book you can't even sell for $1, you're going to be mad, but who are you going to be mad at? Because no one put a gun to your head and made you buy the book. So the people that follow my channel, I'm going to tell you right now, stay away from that book. If you spent $5 for it, you probably overpaid. But you should sell it right now. Most of the time people ask me, when should I sell a book? And I always say, I don't think I should recommend ever selling a book, because what if it's the worst timing ever? This book, I can pretty much safely guarantee, if you want to know what the contents of that book, what's in it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Because like I said, I took the other video down because I didn't want to spoil it for people. But that book is going to be a one and done. It has nothing to do with the first appearance of a character. It has to do with a situation that probably happens in the movie that when you find out, you're going to think, oh, okay. I'll give you a hint. This situation has been done before, just with a different character. So I'm just a little frustrated at what I see the writing on the wall as. A lot of people here did not witness the 90s crash. I did. I was right smack in the middle of it. And because of that comic book crash, I stopped collecting roughly around 1995. I did not even think about a comic book, let alone purchase them, again until October of 2015. So from about 1995 till the end of 2015, I knew nothing about comics. I didn't care, and many people did the same. So I'm trying to prevent those things from happening. So I'm definitely not bitter if I don't get a book, because trust me, if I want a book bad enough, like if I wanted to get Naomi and everything, I can buy it. That's not the issue. It's the principle that a lot of people are missing. Yes, you can make money. Yes, they have the right to do it. But like I was saying, I don't know if I said this on this video. It might have been on the other one that I deleted. A store has the right to charge and do whatever they want. But we as the consumers have the right to also say, we don't want to ever visit your store anymore. We don't want to give you money anymore. Carter Lee says, out of curiosity, would a comic book crash reset the market on a Hulk 181? It might drop 5%, maybe 10%. Key issues are key issues for a reason. It's the stuff like the Naomis in the world. The minor stuff. And yes, that's considered minor if you compare it to Hulk 181. Things like the first appearance of any major character from Marvel or DC from the Silver and Golden Age, they will barely blink an eye as far as the prices. So those books, it's like, speculating on a stock. Penny stocks can come and go. But something like Apple or some major corporation may have some hits and falls, but pretty much is going to be pretty stable, unless they do something stupid. So, your Detective Comics 27s, your AF-15s, your Hulk 181s, I think even the lesser extent Deadpools and even somebody like Harley Quinn might survive as well. But I don't want to find out that way, because remember, when there's a comic book crash, that means comic book stores close. That means a lot of the books that have lower print runs now cease to exist. It means many channels go away and you can't get your information or have conversations with people anymore. So be careful, very careful what you wish for. And Jamagu says, just found a near mint Thor 390 in my collection. Want to buy it, Chris? If you're selling it for $2, I'll be more than happy to take it from you. Anything other than that, I would rather spend my money on a Silver Age book. But thank you for that. But I promise you, if you have that book in your collection, sell it right now, because you will never sell that book again for what you could get it for now. So, like I said, I took the other video down because I felt bad about the spoiler. Even though I mentioned spoilers, somebody might have missed it or anything, and I didn't want to get anybody mad. For some reason, it would not let me process the video, which made it over like 15 minutes of empty, blank silence at the end. So I thought this was just easier to redo. So stay away from Thor 390. Stop following people's emotions and everything. You're going to get burned in the long run. Like I said, you could look at books just that came out just in the past year or so. Look at the Cosmic Ghost Riders, the Weapon H's. Somebody was talking about Stabbity Bunny. Remember how popular that book was? Stabbity Bunny? How many people getting that right now? The Red Goblin. How many people are getting that right now? Those were books that at one point everybody's like, oh, that's hot. It's the flavor of the month. And like any ice cream, it melts pretty quick. So I'm trying to save people from being burned. But remember, take responsibility for what you do. If you choose to just say, well, everybody's getting this book and it's rising and rising, I better get it right away, without trying to at least price it first. You know, you got to take responsibility. So please be careful. If you're listening to this and you heard it from the end, just if you're kind enough to give it a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. Share these kind of videos. Don't let people fall into these traps. It's penny wise, dollar foolish. These comic book stores and what they're doing, and these speculators that are buying up all these books, they're gonna throw away something. You know, this is the golden goose that they're killing. You know, this is a time that we should cherish and appreciate as comic book collectors. With all these wonderful movies and everything, I'm even getting a little nervous in the direction that Marvel may be headed. The whole Captain America, the whole Captain Marvel situation, you know, I don't want that to become The Last Jedi. Because whether you loved it or hated it, it caused controversy. I refuse to watch the next Star Wars movie. I still have not seen Solo, nor will I. And this is coming from a person that watched Star Wars, the original Star Wars in 1977 in the movie theater at 6 years old. I love the Star Wars, but because what they did, they destroyed it. Now I could give two you-know-whats about it. And I'm afraid with how they're protecting Brie Larson and the direction they might be headed, I think they might be doing another Last Jedi situation. I hope that's not the case, because I've said it before and I'll say it again. Marvel is pretty much the only reason why there isn't a comic crash right now with the quality of the movies they've been putting out. If that goes away, so will many of the casual fans. But like I said, some of you, I've seen comments where people say, you know, bring on a crash, I want to save money. Well, be very careful, because like I said, stores will close and will not come back. Books you love to read that weren't making that much money, but were treading water, will be gone. People will lose jobs. A lot of writers, a lot of artists, a lot of the lesser-named people will lose jobs. You got to think about the bigger picture, not just ourselves and how much money we could fill in our pockets. So thank you for listening to this. I hope you will support it. I hope you will share it. Stay away from that book. I promise you, you will be happy that you chose to stay away from it. Like I said, if you bought it for $5 or less, get rid of it. Sell it. You can trust me. You could turn around right now. Probably somebody out there will buy it for $50, $60, $70. And in about 6 months from now, you could buy it back for $1. But the funny part is you probably won't want it. And that's one of the biggest things I see all the time when people say with these Flavor of the Month books, they say things like, oh, well, you know, I just wait for the price to go down. Well, when the price goes down, nobody wants it. Like I've said before, how many people are looking right now for Ultron? How many channels right now are doing the top 10 videos or top 20 videos, top 100 comics to get? And they're telling you to get the first appearance of Apocalypse, the first appearance of Ultron, and others that have come and gone. How many of you are looking for the first Baron Mordo? Remember how much that was going for when he was announced in the Civil War movie? How's that working out? So I'm trying to get people to think in a different way, because I don't want to see 90s Crash Part 2. And with all these variants, with all these speculators getting to the point where, I mean, I can, like I said, there's nothing wrong with making a profit. But you know what? If a newsstand book is already being sold for 10 times what it's worth before it even has a chance to hit the shelves, that's not right. If you want to do it 24 hours later, and whatever inventory you have left, you turn around and sell it for 10 times the amount, God bless you. But if you're doing it the day before it comes out, that is not the best way to gain fans to come into your business. I'm not saying they can't do it, because we as consumers, even the most loyal fans of something can only be burned so many times before they say the heck with it and walk away. And many do not come back. I don't want to see this happen again. So trust me, do not waste your money. I mean, if you want to, it's your money. If you want to spend $50, $60, $70 on Thor 390 and watch it plummet to the ground, you have the right to do that. So thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. Give it a thumbs up, please, to show support. Share it. Post this on your social network so this way other people will not fall into these same traps over and over again. You know, it's just funny how many people are just searching for stuff. Because like I said before, 3 years ago, I was telling people to get She-Hulk. I bought a 9.8 for about $157.55 2 years ago. That book right now, if I wanted to sell it, would be at least $500 to $600. And it's only going to go up from here if the rumors end up being true. But I told people 3 years to get it. You could get a regular copy of that book for under $20. I think I have at least 3 or 4 copies, if not more, outside of that 9.8. Because I bought them years ago. The problem is people don't want to wait. If you want to spend 10 times the amount just so you can get it right now, yeah, that's your choice, but technically you waited anyway. Because if you knew about it 3 years ago, and you said you didn't want to wait for it to go up all that time, well, you waited all that time anyway. But now you're spending the money I told you that you wouldn't have to. Think differently. A fool and their money are soon parted. I don't want to see any fools. That's why I see a lot of people here that get it. But we got to help other people who are just trapped in this endless cycle of the flavor of the month and spending all this money. Because trust me, I did it too. I did it back in the 90s. When I first came and started my original We Love Comics channel in 2016, every Wednesday, I would go to New Comic Book Day and I would do a video series that was very popular, showing all the new books, and I was spending between $70 and $200 every week for 2 years, buying every variant under the sun. And 90% of those variants that I was probably spending $25 to $100 a piece on, I'll be lucky if I can sell them for $5. So trust me, I learned my lesson too, and many people have. And Jamangu said somebody has a raw Thor 90 for sale at $120. Well, if somebody's foolish enough to get it, they deserve how they're going to feel in about a couple of months. I could understand if that was the first appearance of a major character or something like that, but the situation in that book is going to end when the movie ends, and nobody's going to care about that book anymore, and every single person that spent over $10 on that book is going to absolutely hate themselves for it and be mad at the world instead of mad at themselves for making that choice and not thinking, just reacting. You know, my father died in a fire in 2012. And the ironic part was he was living in my friend's basement. He was just trying to move to New York. Didn't have a place to live yet. So he was living in his friend's basement. And unfortunately, his friend fell asleep with a cigarette in his mouth and set the house on fire. And my father died in that building. But the ironic part was, if he would have stayed in the basement, he would have survived. But because he heard all this noise and he heard people running around and he smelled smoke, instead of thinking and thinking logically, he opened the door to where the flames were, got about 3 steps, inhaled so much smoke that he died 3 steps after his steps. And I have no father now because of it. So the point I'm trying to make is so many people don't stop and think. Be smarter than that. Because trust me, there will be many people out there very willing to take your money from you, preying on the gullible, or the naive, or the overly trusting. You know how easy it would be for me to just go on eBay and start selling all of these comics and getting them really cheap if I wanted to? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So please, I'm trying to help you guys. You do what you want with your money. And if you want to think, I don't have to listen to this guy, or who is he to think this way, or whatever, or you're wrong, that's fine. I just don't want to see another comic crash. And I see the train coming down the tracks. It's still far away, but it's getting closer. It's time to start getting away from those tracks before it runs you over. Thanks for listening, guys. And Marvel Joe 67, you will be today's surprise subscriber shout out, even if you aren't subscribed. Hopefully the people that are watching this will. Hopefully you'll share it, you'll give it a thumbs up, and hopefully you'll heed my advice. Take it from an old man at this point that has experience enough to warn people not to repeat the same thing. Because like they say, if you do not research history, you're doomed to repeat it. And I'm seeing it all over again. Thanks for listening, guys. Love you all. Have a great night.